Okay. Today we're going to start on the bottom of a Aleph Amid Beis. It's the last of the a few levels of lines here. It's the last of the middle-sized lines. The word's Vesuleka. Okay, thank Hashem that we're able to learn Torah every day. And in this chus of our learning, we should have Beis Hamikdash immediately. So we're learning in the memory of Zahava Golda Bas Baruch Binyamin. Okay. This goes like this. We learned on the beginning of this daf that there were 10 conditions that Yeshua made when the people came into the land of Israel. Now the Gemara asks, Vesuleka, you only have 10? Actually, we actually quoted 11. We said one of them was instituted by Shlomo, which was later. And good morning, Kremesha. Shalom Zan, I see.
Oh, yeah.
So it says, Vesuleka v'eka Rabbi Yehuda, but what about the statement of Rabbi Yehuda? We're going to have 4 statements over here that are other institutions. So, one second. So the first one is Rabbi Yehuda. The Tanya was taught in the Brayso. Rabbi Yehuda, b'shas it says volim. At times when you're allowed to take your fertilizer out into the street, the manure or whatever it is. I think it was really the straw that they would put in the street. It would get trampled and it would turn into fertilizer. Because that was one of the conditions that Yeshua made, that people should be allowed during the winter when the streets are muddy anyway, that they should be able to get the benefit of the passerby, that they'll trample on it and they'll turn it into fertilizer. So we have a 12th one. How come it said there was only 10? We have also the statements of Rabbi Shmuel, the son of Rabbi Yechim ben Breka. The Tanya was taught Rabbi Shmuel ben Rabbi Yechim ben Breka, that Rabbi Shmuel, son of Rabbi Yechim ben Breka, said, "Tonight Bezdinu, it's a condition from Bezdin. She is a yerid l'seich seichaver v'kaitz seichei shel chaver l'hatzon l'chil shalai v'noisen d'mei seichei shel chaveri." What happens is when the beehive gets too large, so it makes a swarm. It splits into 2. And one group of bees, they fly away. Good morning. And they park themselves on a branch. Now, when you go over there to get your bees back, so you cut off the branch and you just put it into a box and take it back home. But when you cut off the branch, you're cutting someone's branch. It just goes on to a neighbor's branch somewhere. So, but it says that you're allowed to cut off the branch. If you're going to take the bees off, they're going to fly away. You're going to lose them if you knock them off the branch. You have to cut the whole branch, and they'll just it just falls into a box or whatever. You see people that they with their bare hands they like take the bees. But on pay aleph amid beis on the bottom. So you're allowed to do this for tonight Bezdin. Another thing is she has a shefachine. A person can spill out his wine to save someone else's honey, and then he takes the payment for his wine from the other person's honey. Now I know this contradicts the Gemara before, and Tosfos over here says that we're talking about when it's the owner of the honey himself that's pouring out someone else's wine. That's over here he has to pay for it, so it's a slight difference. But that's another condition. The same thing would apply if someone would take off the wood from his animal's back and put on instead the flax that his friend is carrying. The flax is more expensive than the wood. So, and then he's going to take payment for the wood that he lost from that flax. And this was a condition. The Gemara answers, B'yechidai like Kamrina. Morning. These were just individual opinions. What we were saying over there was the 10 things was what everyone held of. But this is a machlaikas, so we weren't saying machlaikasin, right?
But the flax and the honey doesn't have it because the flax is taken by the owner of the wood, and then the honey is the other way. No.
Both the flax and the honey are more expensive.
Yeah, but from what I understand, the owner of the donkey that was carrying the wood was the one that put the flax on the donkey, and the part of the wine and the honey, the owner of the honey was the one
according to Tosfos, that's what we said. Maybe you can answer. Yeah, no, he says the same thing applies to the flax. Tosfos says.
Yeah, but the one that did
the guy that put the flax on it was the owner of the flax, not the owner of the wood, according to this Tosfos. Okay.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
What Hoshua meant?
Good morning. I'm sorry. Tell me again.
Is the Machlekes what Yehoshua meant?
No, the machlekes over here is how many conditions Yeshua made. We have 10 in the brisa, and then we have another 4 that are added on, but that wasn't the brisa. The brisa was only the 10 or 11. Yeah. Okay, now Vakiyasu Rabavin, I'm Rabbi Yechanan. 1 second. Rabavin, it's probably Ravin or Rabavin, came, he said in the name of Rabbi Yechanan, usually we have Ravin, that was the traveler. He says, I'm asking Yeshua. What happens is when it comes to bringing the first fruits to the temple, so there's a certain paragraph that you're supposed to read. And in that paragraph, it says that you're thanking Hashem for the land that he gave us. Bikurim, first fruits. Well, if you own land, then good. If you don't own land, then you can't say it. But this person happens to own a tree that's not really on his property. It's leaning over the other person's property, or it's on the border. And the halacha is that he's allowed to read the paragraph saying that he owns land. And the reason for that is because you're allowed to actually plant trees on the border. That's what Yeshua instituted, that people should be allowed, even though the roots of the tree are getting nourishment from the other person's property, but Yeshua instituted that was allowed, right? So we have another one, which is a brisa, and in this brisa, it's anonymous. It doesn't say who says that, and how come that wasn't part of the 10 that should be added on? Alamantana Sarah, Tanoim Shisna Yeshua, who's the author of the one that said that there were 10? Rabbi Shua ben Levi, it's really Rabbi Shua ben Levi. Now, this is very interesting because it was a Tana Rabbanon. It's taught in a brisa. Rabbi Shua ben Levi is an Amira. But nevertheless, we have an Amira that authors brises, just like we have in the last chapter of Pirkei Avos. Rabbi Shua ben Levi, B'chol Yom Baskel Yotze Isme'ar Chayrev. That's Rabbi Shua ben Levi, and he's an Amira. But in the brises, you can have an Amira. Now, so what comes out now is that I have Rabbi Yochanan that's arguing on Rabbi Shua ben Levi. There was Rabbi Shua ben Levi is probably older, but
he was referred to as the elder.
And he was the elder before, right? Who was that elder? That was Rabbi Shua ben Levi. Okay, Rav Gvia mi Beksil Masni la Behedia. Rav Tanchum Rav Braysa Mishum Zaken Echad Amanu Rabbi Shua ben Levi. When we learned yesterday that they said in the name of an elder, that was talking about the elder that was talking about Rabbi Shua ben Levi. What did he say? Asar Tanam Hisni Yeshua, that Yeshua instituted 10 things. Okay. So we have 10 plus in the Bill of Rights for Israel. Okay. Asar Takanas Tikkun Ezra. Ezra instituted also 10 things. Ezra was taking the Jewish people back to Israel from after the first exile, right? He brought them back. And when he brought them back, he made 10 institutions, just like Yeshua made 10 when he brought them in the first time. So it says, first of all, Shekairin b'mincha b'Shabbos. Seems a little bit more religious, these, rather than That's where they should read the Torah by Mincha on Shabbos. Always wondering, like, where'd that start? Maybe don't read it the rest of the week. By Mincha, we'll see. And also that you should read the Torah on Monday and Thursday. Taisa says, why Monday and Thursday? It says because Moshe Rabbeinu went up on a Thursday and he came down on a Monday. So those are special days. And also the courts are open on Mondays and Thursdays. Taisa says, what happened beforehand? They were open every day. They're open every day. So Ezra diminished it. He didn't increase it. He says that it may have been open every day, but it wasn't in every city. He made it that every city has to have Monday and Thursday. You have to wash your clothing on Thursday. You don't wait for Friday. You have to on Friday. You have other things to do. Clothing. Yeah, but you should be clean for Shabbos. How do you clean it for Shabbos? By washing it on Thursday. Shabbos. They eat garlic on Friday night. Garlic makes a person happy. It increases also the sperm, as we're going to see. That a woman should wake up early to bake because people will come to the house and they're going to ask for food, and she should always have some bread available to give. That a woman should wear, it's sina, it means an apron, but we're going to see it probably means like underwear or something. That before a woman goes to the mikveh, she should comb her hair. And peddlers should be allowed to travel from city to city, and the people in the city shouldn't be able to stop them and say, well, you're taking away my business every time you come, and people don't buy from me. And a man that had an emission should use the mikveh before he studies Torah. Okay.
Oh, so that's the where we get the mikveh every day.
Yeah, this is called the Kanas Ezra. Yeah, it's the big Gemara about this is in Brachas, because the Gemara Brachas says that this institution of Ezra was nullified. Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira, right? Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira was this one we follow. No, I mean as extras, but I mean some of them yes, some of them no.
Are these on the status of like halachos?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a mix of minhag halacha. Okay, we'll see each one what the explanation is. That's what the Gemara does. It quotes a brisa and then it elaborates on each one. So we're going to go through now. Number 1, 2, 3 till number 10. It starts off like this. There's people Yeshvi Karanas, the people that sat on the by the. I always thought it meant corners. Karen sounds like a corner, right? But apparently, when they would have fairs, they would ride up on a wagon and the Karen, and they would sell the things from the back of the wagon. Yeah, like those guys in the guy in Crown Heights used to sell svarim from the back of his car. He'd open up his trunk, and there would be boxes of svarim there. So anyway, these people, they're busy with their business, and they don't have time to study. So we added one more time for them to hear the Torah reading, which was on Shabbos afternoon. To help them, they should get one extra shear in for the week.
When they did the decree of Monday and Thursday, was it also because the marketplace was open, the same thing as the Megillah?
Maybe. Yeah.
So people are going together, so they make sure
right, make it easier. Where they should read on Monday and Thursday, the Gemara asks, Ezra Tikkun, was that really instituted by Ezra? That goes way back, much before Ezra. That was an original institution. Why? Because it says the Tanya was taught in a brisa. They went 3 days in the desert. They couldn't find water. The people that study, that taught the psukim, they said Ein Mayim Ela Torah. When it says they couldn't find water, it meant that they were 3 days without Torah. No, water means Torah. As it says, anyone that's thirsty should go to water, right? And Tanya explains, anyone that's thirsty for Hashem should go to water, which is Torah. Thirsty for Hashem, you study Torah. I'm adding in that word. When they went 3 days without Torah, they got weak. How does it translate nilu? Weary, became exhausted. Good. Amdu Nevi'im Shabinayim, the prophets amongst them stood up. Instituted that they should read the Torah on Shabbos. you leave one day, Sunday, and then you read again on Monday. Mafsikin Shlishi or Revi, you leave Tuesday, Wednesday, Vakarim B'Chamishi, and you read again on Thursday. Mafsikin Erev Shabbos, and you leave a break for Friday. Kadesha Yalina Gimel Yom B'lei Torah, you should never have 3 days without Torah. You always have, every 3 days, you have Torah. Now you're telling me that on Monday and Thursday was instituted by Ezra. This was already when the Jewish people were in the desert.
Interesting. The stock market does the same thing.
Oh yeah. What do they do?
They can be more than 3 days like in a row without opening. So what they do for the Thanksgiving weekend, since it's 4 days, they open Friday half a day.
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow.
Hillel added that the stock market's the same. It needs to have 3 days. You can't have 3 days being closed.
I guess that's their Torah.
Okay.
But they would practice this in the middle, just after.
Right. That's what it's telling us.
I think it was something that they camped from place to place, and therefore I think they were able to.
They had to be able to study Torah every 3 days. So why are you telling me that Ezra instituted this? So the Gemara answer is interesting. It says, originally, one person got an aliyah, and he read 3 verses, and that was satisfied this requirement of studying Torah every 3 days. Inami, or else, even if you want to say it was more than that, it was Tlasa Gabri, Tlasa Psuki. It was 3 people got called, and they read 3 psukim. Can I get Kainim, Leviim, Yisraelim? That each person would read 1 pasuk. Unless the way to translate it was that it was 9 psukim. Each person read 3 psukim. It's unclear how to read this. Tlasa Gavri, Tlasa Psuki. It could mean that 3 people read 3 psukim in total.
Commentary, it adds 1 verse per person.
1 verse per person. Okay, so it was 3 verses in total. And however, Asahu came along, Ezra, Tikin, Tlasa Gavri, Vasar Psuki, instituted that 3 people should get called up, and 10 psukim are read. Kneged Asar Batlanim corresponds to the 10 idlers that would be in the town, and they were always available for minyanim and different things that the community needed. Yeah, Sarah Batlanim. It's a big town has 10 koil people that they just sit in the base medrash. That's considered a big town. They would say there was this. Yeah, in Megillah, that's what discusses this. But there was this guy, this Rabbi Yaakov Galinsky. Remember him?
Yes.
Chaim? Yaakov Galinsky was a very short guy, and he lived in I think Yerushalayim. He was a Maggid. They would put him on a milk crate.
Like on the corner there.
He would stand on a milk crate. Anyway, he came once when I was in Lakewood. He came and spoke. He was had a Lubavitcher cousin or something. I don't know exactly. Brothers. Anyway, he spoke about something from the Chafetz Chaim, that there's a map of the world, and on the map there's like big cities, big Tokyo, and and this, and whatever, Los Angeles, and this. But he says then they just has another map. He has Muncie, that's the big cities, with Sarah Batlanim, how they overlap with maps. They have different maps that show different things. Anyway.
So is it saying that one of these tikanas decided that the Leah should be divided by Kohanim, Levim, and Yisraelim?
Yeah, well, we had 2 possibilities of what was going on beforehand.
Uh-huh.
According to one possibility, it was only 1 person got an aliyah. And then he instituted that 3 people should get an aliyah, and each one reads 3 psukim. Each one reads 3, and 1 person reads 4, right? It would be 3 and 4. It would 3, 3, 4 would be 10 psukim.
I recall reading somewhere that one of the tikanas, early tikanas, was that the Kohen, the Levi, and the Yisrael should get it because there was always arguments about who was going to get the aliyahs.
Uh-huh.
And
so
that
could be Ezra.
Could be Ezra. Or could be Moshe.
It could be back from the days of Moshe Rabbeinu, but they were only reading 3 verses.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the Gemara is not clear. It says Inami.
This sounds parallel to what it says in Masechah Shabbos about the 3-fold people given on the 3rd day by the by
Oh
the
yeah.
third.
Yes.
Hmm. I think there it says Kohana Levim Yisrael.
Yeah, well, that's one of them, right? Right. Uyin Tlisai, right? Uyin Tlisai, Biachat Tlisai. Yeah. Okay. Vidonim b'sheni b'chamishi, and they also the court sits on Monday and Thursday. What's the reason for that? The shchichi doesn't make a bezifra. That's going to be the best days because people are coming to hear the Torah reading anyway. It would come from the villages, and they have the courts available as well. They should wash the clothes on Thursday. Mishum kavod Shabbos. That's more honorable for Shabbos. It's not today we would have the laundry all over the house Friday if you did it on Friday, but now today it's also easier because you just put it in the dryer. You know,
Not so easy.
Life is a lot smoother if you do it on Thursday.
Still not easy. On Rosh Chodesh, you know, it's very hard for the man. He has to push the button. You know, the wife prepares the clothing and she's not allowed to do work, but he comes along and saves the day, pushes the button. And today you can do it on your phone, actually. They have the, okay. We also to eat garlic on Friday night. Mishum Aina. This is because of the relations that is supposed to be on Friday night. It says that his fruit is given in its time. Or maybe Huda v'temer of Nachman, v'temer of Kana, v'temer of Yechanan. A lot of people possibly said the statement, Erev Shabbos is a person that has relations from a Friday night, every Friday night, from Friday night to Friday night.
Is there any science behind it? Where is that?
I'm not sure.
Tremendous amount of science.
About garlic?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to ask Dr. Stein is on. We'll wait for him to come.
Also,
What's the health benefits of garlic? But apparently over here it increases the sperm. That's what it says.
It has a lot. They even make like cough syrup out of garlic.
Oh, really?
Increases red blood cells.
Oh, yeah. An apple a day keeps the doctor away, and garlic a day keeps everyone away.
It's a natural antibiotic.
Oh. Okay. There's an interesting thing about this. Apparently, this is only for married people. That's what you would assume, because it's Mishamish Mitasi, right? But the Gra said that it applies to everyone, even people that aren't married. And in his explanation, he says, the sages give us very few reasons of what they really mean. They give us one reason, but we don't get all of the reasons why the sages instituted things. So they give us a little thing. There could be other reasons for it.
I read that we're allowed to kill lice on Shabbos.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's no spontaneous.
Yeah, that's a big machlekes.
Yeah.
So a lot of books have been written on that. Yeah. So Tana Rabbana was taught in a brisa. Chamisha dvarim nemer b'shum. There's 5 things that are said about the benefits of garlic. Maspia, it makes a person satisfied. Like it sounds like it's full. You know, mashchin, it warms the body. Matzil panim, it makes the face shine. Marba zera, it increases the sperm. Vahiri kinim shebnei mayim, it also kills intestinal worms or something, parasites. Some say it also makes a person full of love and takes away his jealousy. Okay. Why should a woman wake up early in the morning and do her baking? They would have to go to like a neighbor's house or something to get to bake the bread, or to the bakery. So she should have bread available for the poor in case they show up in the middle of the day, and she should have some bread to give them. That a woman should wear a siner. Siner means an apron. And this is for modesty. If it means an apron, then that would mean that she should wear an apron to keep her clothing clean. But then what would it have to do with sneas? Some say what it means is that she should wear underwear during the days that she would be seeing blood. So that would be to keep her clothing clean. Then what does that have to do with sneas? So some say that it means that she should wear a siner over here. Rashi says is a type of pants, which would mean that she's wearing underwear, I guess, in case she's doing some work that would keep her more sneastic. What does it say over there in English? Which means what?
That's what I was gonna look up. I have
Supposed to look at your Megillah for when the incident prompted
Source of the word is not known for certain. Some maintain that
It says that it's a Gemara Megillah.
which
Here's
from that
see
means
none.
the belt or
I don't remember. it.
I don't remember that. Just one second. 4-1.
Here he is. You know, it's all about
shame on you.
Benefits
You
of
weren't
garlic.
listening- You weren't listening to me. It's not acceptable.
It's the Jerusalem one.
Oh, Jerusalem one.
Oh.
Okay.
It looks like.
Oh,
Maybe that's
okay.
underneath the skirt.
Uh-huh. Interesting. Leggings, basically.
35. It says about modesty.
Oh, it's a safeguard to distance her from immoral conduct. For the incident that prompted this enactment, see Yerushalmi Megillah. Okay. I don't.
By the way, Rabbi,
There is a
I agree with you.
Yerushalmi.
I agree with you.
The what?
The benefit of garlic and why you don't get sick is it increases social distancing.
That's why
And if no one goes near you, how are you gonna catch
Oh.
it? I mean, you catch illnesses from someone else's
Case in
proximity.
point,
If
Dr.
they're not-
Menaker.
Dr. Stein just came. He said the reason why it's a natural antibiotic is because it keeps you away from other people. So then you don't get the germs. So
That's why he's retired.
That's why he said even Bakram have to take it.
that's right. As Stephen Bachram should eat it. Okay. The next thing is that a woman should do chafifa. Chafifa means to wash or comb her hair. Rashi says the Gemara is going to say it means to comb, but we would say chafifa means to shampoo. One of my kids made up a word to scrubble it in, and to wash their. They say, the kids make up these great words. Isn't it good?
Yeah.
Scrubble it. You didn't scrubble it yet.
Malapropism.
What is that?
Making up words.
So anyway, a woman should comb her hair before she goes to the mikveh. Deiraisi, that's a biblical law. The Tanya was taught in a brisa. The bracha says, "B'sari b'mayim." That a woman, that's not a woman. This is talking about someone that's impure. He should wash his flesh in water, which means that there should be no interruption. There should be no chatzitza. Chatzitza means a separation between his flesh and the water. And the pasuk says es b'sarei, and it has the word es. The S is just a pointer to the article. So, but it's also coming to include. S could also mean with. So es hatafel b'sarei. It's coming to include what's secondary to the flesh. What is that? It means that the hair has to be clean also, so that the water should be able to get into the hair. Gemara says, you only have to examine it to make sure that it's okay. Dilma mikta, maybe it's knotted. Inami mas, maybe it's dirty. Midi misham chatzitza, there was be an issue of chatzitza. Asiyu tikkun chafifa, and he instituted that they have to comb their hair. And I think today they say that the woman should be involved before the mikveh for a half hour. I think, is that what they say? A half hour doing the preparations, which means the laws of chafifa means she should take a designated amount of time combing the hair and the nails and all of that. They can do it at home, yeah.
It'd be funny when you said, is that what they say? You look at two single guys and the guy is over 70. I mean, right now.
Okay. And that the peddlers should be able to go through the city. That they would sell like little, how do they translate tachshite? Adornments. But they say perfumes. That's interesting. Perfume. So that they should not be disgusted by their husbands. That's a derogatory way of saying that. I would have put it in a more positive, not shalai yiskanu al baleim. They should be beloved by their husband. They shouldn't be disgraced. Only if it's knotted. If it's combed out, it's fine. Yeah, those very ultra, Hasidic groups, the women shave their hair because they're careful with the chatzitza.
That's not a Chabad thing,
The
or
Chabad not, no. They cut it short because they have to keep it under a shaitel.
Right.
But yeah, they don't shave it. The Tikkun Tefillah Bali Karayan, and they instituted that men should go to the mikveh after an emission. Umar says, really, that's an institution from Ezra Deiraisu. That's a Torah law. He has to go to the mikveh. The man has an emission. It says Deiraisu l'truma v'kachim. Midiraisa, that's only if he wants to eat truma or eat a sacrifice. But also, who taken afil divrei Torah, and Ezra instituted even for Torah. Taisus over here points out that we don't go like this. We hold like Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira, that divrei Torah are not makabel tuma. And Taisus then goes into how could Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira undo what Ezra instituted, and he gives several answers for it. Okay. The discussion
is a prime example of a takana that the Jewish people didn't accept and therefore didn't occur.
Right, that's one of the reasons why he was able to, because the people didn't accept it. Right. There's a discussion if it was removed for Torah but wasn't removed for Tefillah, and maybe for Tefillah you still need it, and there's a discussion in the commentaries. Okay. Asara Devarim Nemar B'Yerushalayim. Now we move on. There's 10 things that were said regarding Yerushalayim. What is that? Ein habayis chalot ba. A house is not sold for forever. Now, you see, it's a little complex, but in Israel, the laws of selling property meant that after 50 years, it came back to the inheritor, the way it was divided. There's an exception to that rule. That's a house in a walled city is sold, and if the person doesn't redeem it, I think during the first year, it gets sold forever, and it never comes back. That term is called chalot. So in Yerushalayim is a walled city, and a house in a walled city should be sold forever. In the Yovel, it doesn't go back by Yovel. But in Yerushalayim, it's different. Ein habayis chalot ba.
Oh, other walled cities.
In other walled cities, it gets sold forever. Rather, the way it works over here is that it can always be redeemed.
Like tire or
That's why
something.
you buy new houses there. New construction.
Right. It can always be redeemed, and by Yovel, it goes back to the one that sold it. Okay. That's the first thing.
He didn't mention that most of the Jewish people didn't accept Ezra's decree.
Right.
That's when they became
Right.
one.
Right. That's what Naftali was mentioning. This is an example of a decree that wasn't accepted. That's one of Taisus' answers. Why Yehuda ben Beseira was able to nullify it. The second one is vein maybe egla rufa, that we don't Yerushalayim, if a person dies in between cities, you have to bring an egla. The elders of the city go down to the valley and they bring an egla rufa. Not in Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim is not part of that. What would they do? I don't know. They would have to take from other cities. I don't know. They would ignore Yerushalayim. If people in Yerushalayim worship idols, it doesn't become a nidachas. We don't burn the city. If someone gets leprosy on their house, which is possible, but in Yerushalayim there's no such thing as leprosy on the house. They would, if someone would put up an attic, so he would have the beam sticking out from hanging over the outside of his house. They didn't have to cut it flush with the wall. They could let it hang over, and then you would use that beam for something else. I don't know. But you weren't allowed to do that in Yerushalayim. We're going to see because there could be tumah under it, and then other people. Well, we don't want to have a lot of areas where there's possible spreading of tumah. You also don't make garbage heaps over there because of these creatures that go over there and then they die and then they give off tumah. You also don't make smelting, because it blackens the walls. It makes it look bad. You can't make gardens and orchards in Yerushalayim except for the Ginis Radim. That was the ones that were used for the Ketairas that was there from the days of the early prophets. In Megadlim Batarnagailim, you also don't raise chickens in Yerushalayim. I don't know how they would wake up. You don't raise it there. The reason is because they jump around and they take
Shrugs.
things from that are dead and then they spread it over because the problem of spreading tumah as well. And if someone passes away in Yerushalayim, you don't leave the body overnight. You do the funeral that day, and that's still kept today. You do the funeral in the middle of the night. They have funerals in Yerushalayim. A house is not sold forever. The ksiv, it says in the pasuk, in a house that had the wall, in that city of a wall, latzmisas means forever. The one that acquires it for all generations. And we hold Yerushalayim l'shvatim, that Yerushalayim wasn't divided. Now I'm not sure exactly how it's getting from that pasuk. Can I look at the notes over there? How is it getting from that pasuk that this doesn't apply?
I think the notes is
Note 17. Okay. The pasuk says, if it was not redeemed, then the home that has the wall shall pass in perpetuity to the one who purchased it for his generations. Not the same holds, and Jerusalem was not a portion amongst the tribes. 17. Our Gemara holds that Jerusalem was not a portion, instead designated as a temple city. Jerusalem does not qualify for inclusion in the laws of the walled city houses. For the verse states to the one who purchased it, and it is legally impossible to purchase a house in Jerusalem. For that very reason, the Gemara here rules that the residents of Jerusalem may not rent out houses to pilgrims who come for the 3 festivals, because residents do not own their homes. Isn't that interesting?
This is just
No one owns their house in Yerushalayim.
This is just in the old city.
Yeah.
I thought the pilgrims
I don't
went to America.
Well, I'm confused. I thought that we just said before that the people who own in Yerushalayim, they own it kind of forever.
No.
Now it's saying that even though they live there, but they don't really own it, according to that note. They
So
just
they're
live there.
forever squatters?
Yeah.
And no one can take it from them,
Right,
but they don't own it.
right. But when people come, they can't charge rent. If other people want to
You
squat
Rabbi
with them.
Schloss in the old city.
Okay.
Well, what does it mean that it wasn't a portion? Didn't it
Uh,
wasn't it was in the
there's a
times of King
discussion.
David that was created?
Right. This discussion, if it was divided by the tribes of Yehuda and Binyamin, or if it was just totally left out. Left out of the division.
So, but
According to this
Yehoshua would have
opinion,
had
it
to
was left
know.
out. I'm sorry?
Yehoshua would have had to know that it would have one day become a holy city.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe this is from the time of Yeshua, even though they didn't own that area yet, but maybe he understood that that area was not going to be divided.
Wasn't the fire bias from Yemen and the
Yeah.
rest of
But we're not talking
Yeah,
about
we're-
our highs, we're talking about the rest.
We're talking about the rest of Yerushalayim, and we're discussing if that's actually how it was. That's apparently there's a machlekes about that. If could be Yerushalayim was left out of the division.
It's interesting. Today, it's the opposite.
What is that?
It's the opposite today. Today, Jerusalem is one of the few places in which you can own land permanently.
Oh, really?
That's all I
And
think. It's Nachlas just.
93% of the land in Israel you own theoretically on a lease, 49-year lease from the government.
Oh.
It's technically the way it works. As a
Wow.
practical matter, the government's never done anything about that, so people assume it's permanent, but that's really the way it works.
Wow.
That's always a nice place there.
Sounds like the co-ops in Miami Beach in New York. They're only leased land,
Oh,
right?
really?
Tell us.
And Manhattan also, baby.
Century Village.
I
also.
said New York.
Century Village.
They spend a lot of money. They don't really own their house.
Wow.
Eventually, it goes back.
So it's just like a long lease. Well, okay. The next thing is Veinamivi Egla Rufa. They don't bring an Egla Rufa Diksiv. It says in the pasuk, Yimatzi Chalal Ba'adama. Find the corpse on the ground. Asher Hashem Melekechem Neisen Lachal Rishta that Hashem gave to you to inherit on the land. And Yerushalayim Lenis Chalkal Shvatim. It's not. This is not the land that was divided. Bein Anas Yer Nidachas. It can't become a Yer Nidachas. That means a city that worships idols. Diksiv Arecha. It says your city. Yerushalayim Lenis Chalkal Shvatim. Yerushalayim wasn't divided. Can't get tzaras either. Because it says, I'll put a spot of tzaras on the house of the land of your inheritance, and not Yerushalayim. It actually has halachic ramifications of someone finds a stain, a woman finds a stain on something that's makabel tumah. So something that's makabel tumah, so she becomes tummy as well. It's called the kesem. If she finds a stain, let's say on the seat, whatever, so in Yerushalayim she won't be tummy because that's attached to, it doesn't attach to the house. It won't become tummy. Other parts of Yerushalayim she would be tummy. On the other parts of Israel she would be tummy because there's tumas tzaras, that house could get tzaras. Anyway, I don't know if that's the way they paskin, but it sounds like it should be.
Do we have an indication of the time period in which these special rules about Jerusalem?
Yeah, it goes back to the psukim. These are going back to the psukim.
Yeah, but does it apply even after the Korban Bayasheni, all these rules?
Yeah, I assume so.
I think so, okay.
You can't put these beams hanging over the sides because that could be a tent of tumah. And another reason is so that people shouldn't bang into it. People that don't know the area, but they're just coming, the pilgrims coming to visit, not the Quakers. Okay, you can't make them into mounds of garbage heaps, because in these garbage heaps, these creatures go around and they become tameh, and then they would make other things tameh. You're not allowed to make smelting pots over there, mishum kutra, because of the black smoke that makes the walls black and it looks terrible. The problem over here is because either bad things grow, which I'm not sure what it's referring to, and they have to pull them out and throw it to the side, or because of the fertilizer that's smelling. Do they have a note on that? 27. The word sircha can mean a stench or decayed matter. Rashi offers two explanations of the Gemara, each for one definition. Maintaining a garden involves uprooting and discarding the dead plants and weeds. Okay. Piles of such decayed matter scattered about the precinct of Jerusalem would mar the beauty of the city. Maintaining a garden also involves fertilizing it, which creates a stench in the city. Yeah, the day that you put down the fertilizer, it smells, and then it goes away afterwards. Right? You can't raise chickens, mishum kadshim, because of kadshim. Because what happens is they dig in the garbage and then they bring up whatever insects and then they bring it over and then they eat the kadshim and then they make the kadshim tummy. In malina ba'asameis, you can't leave a corpse overnight. That's Gemara. That is just a tradition and we don't have a reason for it. Very interesting. On the side it says ayin atam b'zoyar. The Zoyar has a reason for it, but I didn't look it up. It says Parshas Nasa. Okay, now it says Ein Megadim Chazim B'chol Makim. Not allowed to raise pigs. We're going back to the Mishnah. The Mishnah said that Jewish people aren't allowed to raise pigs, and the Mishnah was on page 79b. Person wasn't allowed to raise pigs. He wasn't allowed to raise a dog unless it has a chain, and you can't set up to the nets for birds. Well, take a look at what happens. Tana Rabbanan was taught in a brisa. You know, the Chashmonaim took over the government, basically. And at the beginning it was good, but then it went really bad. And there were two brothers, Hyrcanus mi b'fnim, Aristobulus mi b'chutz. There was a civil war. Hyrcanus is inside, and Aristobulus is outside. These are two brothers. Hyrcanus is like, I don't know, Jason, something, I don't know. Anyway, so actually the other Gemara that quotes this has it exactly the opposite. But whatever the case is, the Romans were on the outside together with, in this case, Aristobulus. And every day they would let down a box of coins, and they would take the coins out and put in a sheep, and they would pull it up. There was an older person there that understood the Greek wisdom. You're never going to conquer Jerusalem if they're still bringing sacrifices. The next day, when they lowered it down to get the coins, to get the lamb, instead they put it inside a pig. When they brought it up, when they were lifting up the rope, so not sipana b'chaima, it stuck its nails into the wall, and it created an earthquake. The whole Israel shook. 400 parsais by 400 parsais. That time they made a decree. Cursed is the person that raises pigs. I was like, where they get the pig from? So also cursed is a person that teaches his son Greek wisdom. There goes Homer. And at that time they said, they weren't able to get the Omer and the Shtei Alechem from areas that were close by. They had to go much further to find it because the people that were laying siege were eating and destroying that all the close by fields. Yeah. Oh, okay. Who are they quoting from? They said that Ben Yehoyada. Yeah. Okay. So Chachmas Yivanis Miasira. What are you talking about? You're not allowed to learn Greek wisdom. But Tanya was starting to write some Rebbe. Rebbe said, "Beretz Yisrael lashon sursi lama lashon hakodesh lashon Yivanis." I don't know what sursi is. Is Aramaic. It says, why would anyone speak Aramaic in Israel? Either you speak Hebrew or you speak Greek. See, he says Greek. That's what the option. Rabbi Yossi Bavel. The Rabbi Yossi says, why would anyone speak Aramaic in Babylonia? Parsi. Either speak Hebrew or speak Persian. Apparently, that was even better than Aramaic. Well, what are we seeing over here? That the Gemara is fond of Greek. Now it's saying that you're not allowed to speak Greek. Amri Lashon Yivani L'chud Chachmas Yivanis L'chud. We didn't say the language. We're talking about Greek wisdom. The Gemara asks, "V'chachma Yivanis mi'asira." Greek wisdom is a problem. Rav Yehuda Mishmol. Rav Yehuda said, "Name Mishmol Mishim Rav Shimon ben Gamliel." In the name of Rav Shimon ben Gamliel, Eini Oila Lenafshi. My eyes they're crying. My soul, Mikol ben Asiri, from all the wailing, from all the daughters or the children of my city. There were 1,000 children in my father's house. I guess it means cousins or something. 500 of them studied Torah. 500 of them studied Greek wisdom. Sounds like a yeshiva university. You can go to this side to that side. And there's only 2 that are left, that are remaining, and which means that they were studying Greek wisdom in the house of the Nasi. That was different. That was the house of Ram Gamliel. They were close to the government. They had to study. Kedetanya was starting in a brisa. Masapra kaimi, someone that leaves a ponytail. This is to it interprets. Either cuts the front and leaves the back, or mullet. Or it's like a mushroom. Mullet. You know, they just shave the side and they let it go up. So this is not the Jewish custom. Avtolmas ben Baruvain, this fellow Avtolmas Baruvain, they did allow him to take a haircut like that. He was close to the government, and he had to dress like that. So and Ram Gamliel also, they allowed him to the house to study Greek wisdom because they were close to the government. Apparently, this is a way of talking with sign language, because that's how it wasn't just culture, because he had to communicate with the people outside and tell them that not to bring up there was some sort of hints that he was able to give, that to tell them not to put the sheep in, and that's how they put the pig in. Okay, we'll leave it here.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
No mullets. What I just learned.
No mullets.
Mullet, party in the back, business up front. Like a short haircut in front, but party in the back, like long hair. Do that. That's the hairstyle, right?
Are you familiar with Eliezer Berkowitz?
Of course,